I had lower expectations for Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, especially after DMZ's launch, which was their new mode from last year that I completely played through and started in a very rough state. Now completing the entire Zombies campaign and getting over half of the golden guns specifically for Zombies, it is time for this video. And don't worry, no major spoilers in this either. Right from the start of playing, I loved this mode. In fact, I've played it more than multiplayer. Compared to the campaign, I don't think either of the stories there or here is really super groundbreaking. In fact, the convoluted zombie stories in the past I thought were actually a lot more interesting, but I'm guessing that's all going to return next year. They're going to return to Black Ops, round-based zombies, etc., etc. But compared to the campaign, I actually enjoyed more going back to Verdansk and revisiting, seeing the remastered design they had there, while really in Zombies, I enjoyed the actual gameplay experience much more and running into other people. The fact it was multiplayer made the world feel way more alive, and I think it added a lot more to the fun of it. Although, of course, that meant that you couldn't actually pause in solo play, and the absolutely epic battles that I would get into. I know a lot of you didn't try it, but it really had a lot of incredible moments. But I do think them leaving out PvP in Zombies was the right call here. I would be so training zombies, trying to get 200 kills for a camo or something, and then just be killed by somebody who walks up and kills me while I'm completely distracted. There is definitely potential for a dark zone or a PvP area on this map, or even somewhere else, though. Even what we saw in DMZ, they added completely different modes that you could infill into, like Building 21, that wasn't even part of the normal Battle Royale experience or map. And we already have heard Dark Ether portals are coming, although I expect this is going to be more like the Koshi complex, that being somewhere in the map that you can access to exfil and go into another area, maybe even Tier 4. Even though we didn't get the PvP framework from that mode, they definitely took a lot of good lessons and really the entire framework from that DMZ mode. But it really is a completely different feeling game. This is far more of a chill grind co-op RPG feel rather than an extraction shooter. And I do enjoy the fact that you can play solo. I even noticed completing contracts solo if you didn't have a self-res seemed to always guarantee that you would get one. More thoughts on that, on what I think they need to change about this mode in a second. But overall, the amount of secrets in this game, like ways to acquire perks by completing different hidden tasks, and having a stash system allowing you to keep upgrades between raids, even finally making it so that when you complete missions, those go to a separate stash rather than making you delete something from your main one to accept the mission, and those missions auto-completing and going to the next one while you were in raid led to a lot of really good quality of life improvements over what we even had previously from DMZ. But even the newer systems that they introduced with this, having 3 different ways to upgrade your gun, added to a lot more complex systems. Being able to traverse the map not only from vehicles, but rifts, redeploys, and even having a teleport system, although I didn't really use this, is very cool. And there's a lot of entertainment and upgrade potential there. But if you saw my videos prior to release, you know my main goal really was to level up guns. And of course, know the map of Urzikstan to hit the ground running, sniping people's heads off in Battle Royale mode. That's also why I think I was so pleasantly surprised and why I tried to set others' expectations with my videos for those who thought that this was going to be a round-based mode and have crazy Easter eggs. So then, okay, should you actually get this? Well, if a PvE game really isn't even your thing, we are close enough to Warzone Urzikstan update that's coming December 6th to just wait a little bit longer. You can even level up all your guns in Plunder, and then it's going to be completely free. If you do even want the main story and acts, I uploaded each of those for you to enjoy. And even if you are into PvE, as of right now, I'd probably say no. Check back in 6 months. My guess is we'll have a lot more content, bugs will be worked out, and the systems will be even better. But I just said all those great things about the game, and there is a lot good. But I also have quite a few thoughts on some fixes, and to those of you who already have it, I've read thousands of comments on this, but if there's anything I miss here, I'd love to read them even in the comments down below, and it's a good opportunity for you to share even with the devs who may watch this, read through, as well as just to discuss in general what you think. But as always, keep it civil. Of course, there are many bugs that we could talk about, and I still have to bring a couple up here. We always see this whenever an update drops, even many exploits, many of which already have been addressed. But I'd say the biggest pain point that we need is a reconnect feature for these crashes. Great that if it's a server disconnect, you still don't lose your stuff, but you still lose out all the progress of the things that you found in what you've been working on. And when it does dev error and completely crash on your side, not only do you lose everything that you went in with, it's now on cooldown. Plus, when you reboot, if you're playing with friends, it forces them to exfil if you want to play together, losing their power-ups, or just play without you, which is terrible. They got this working for Battle Royale, however, not for DMZ and not for this. While many of the missions did continue on when you completed them in Raid, there was also a lot that required you to exfil, and I really didn't enjoy this. You spend all these power-ups just to lose them to be forced to leave. Again, even clunkier when you're playing with friends. Better yet, I think they should allow multiple missions to all track at once. So if you do still need to exfil for this mission, you can at least continue on to other ones while you are waiting to exfil. Maybe this doesn't completely line up with the story, and probably this was just designed to slow down all of your progress because a lot of these are very basic missions, but I don't think I ever cared about it and always just wanted it to just continue. One of the bigger ones as you get later in the game, though, is working on your camos, or even what I was doing from the beginning was leveling guns. Not having some type of progression or any way to see where you're at with it, especially when they seemingly have diminishing returns on the amount of experience that you can gain within a mission. I went from level 1 to 2 after 300 something zombie kills at the end of a raid, and I didn't know if it was a bug or what was going on. Was it progressing? Even if you can't change anything in raid, at least let us see what we are working towards. When you are playing with friends, being pulled out by your teammates, this is one of my warnings in my tip video. I'm sure you have felt this by now. Even if it was just randoms that you joined in with and one of them was made the leader and then they pull you out, it is terrible. Probably even worse than a crash. It should, by default, never pull you if you are still in the raid and your teammate leaves. As for those missions you're completing, I think there needs to be better ones. Maybe this was the fact that a lot of this was rushed. Maybe it's because this is for brand new players of the game who don't even know really what's going on and need these type of tutorial missions. I thought after Act 1, these tutorial type basic things would be over and we would get some more fun ones. But really, all the way till the last 3 of them, they felt extremely boring. And even the ones that you had to do with like the cryo freeze, forcing you to bring a low-level gun to get the ammo mod to actually proc on a higher tier thing because you didn't want to kill it too fast. It was just frustrating. It just wasn't fun. At least for the camo ones, you could just put on the frost mod and get 250 kills or something with it. I like that better. But I want to go in juiced up, have a reason to go into tier 3, get my 3rd pack-a-punch, get all my perks, and then pop off. And even when I did that for the final mission, it was so easy. Granted, I was playing with 3 people. I could make it a lot more difficult by playing solo, and maybe that's what I should have done. But how much cooler if it was still a challenge when we had all 3 of us fully geared up. Hence, I feel like this was much more designed for the brand new FPS player, and that's what this is. It's a PvE mode, so you don't have to deal with all the sweaty people slide canceling all over the place in the other one. In that same vein, though, I would have loved it to have more incentive to actually go to those higher tier zones. Give me extra XP, complete the camos faster. Maybe I kill an abomination, and that gives me credit for killing a mimic or one of these lower tier things that I'm just running all over the place to find, rather than going doing the fun thing at the end of the game. Likewise, when I am solo, give me 2 self-reses. After completing Act 1, or even all 3 of the acts, let me spawn with a pack-a-punch gun. Or if I exfil, allow me to keep it. Give me some other benefit, because the game is so much drastically easier with 3. And if it really doesn't matter, let us queue with 6 people. Maybe absolutely busted to do it, but the mode's already easy enough as is, and you can get a 6-man squad in-game anyways, so why not let us play with more of our friends, the people we want to go in with, even if it ended up being 4 or 5 for a day. As I'm going around the map, too, I'd love to have those rifts that I find, the portals and things actually just discovered in-game and shown on the UI of the map, rather than having to go to a third-party website that's tracking and giving me a better map than what's in-game, or having to memorize all of these things to just figure out where it is. If I've been there, just let me save it and click it. In fact, using that portal system and having some type of mission tied to that would have been a lot more fun than trying to get a bunch of cryo kills on dogs. I think also adding density to the zombies, especially in the tier 1 zones, would have made it a lot more enjoyable. They're so slow to move anyways, you can kite them very easily. When everything's all spread out, it feels just way too empty. Rather than completely nerfing the exfil choppers, which a lot of people really like, how many are coming, the waves, that gave it the intensity. If you waited to the end and had hundreds of zombies coming, now it's really risky to stay all the way to the end of the raid. Versus versus what they nerfed it to, where there's barely any zombies that come. There's also minutes between calling in exfils. I'd just rather see the whole world more full as I'm running to even try and go get a car. More cars would be great. Would it be as bad if I was running and able to kill stuff on the way and I'm having to dodge stuff and worry about it, but when I'm running in an empty world, just to go get a car that's 400 meters away. If you're not going to add more enemies, just add more cars so we can drive to where we're trying to go. I also kind of feel like the lobbies don't even need a timer on it in general to get to an end game, especially if there isn't going to be this ramp up curve of difficulty as you're going through it outside of the final radiation spreading that levels up the zombies. There was a lot of times where I just wanted to get more done. I spent the last 20 minutes of the raid going from special zombie to the next spawn, killing 15 manglers in a row because I couldn't get a single disciple to spawn in the tier 2 zone even, that I then was forced to exfil and come back in, repack my gun so I could go get this last couple done just because I couldn't get the spawn when I was being rushed for it, which maybe that's the design. Get me to keep going back in. As for the actual driving of vehicles as well, they felt extremely slidey, and I really hope that this is improved for Warzone itself. I don't know if it's because this map just has more small hills and rocks or whatever it was, but they're sliding all over the place. It did not feel fun to control outside of the ATV and the UTX. The worst bug that I personally faced overall was the Fortress boss, which many other people ran into. I looked it up. I had to kill this thing 7 times, wasting so much of my own gear, as well as the time and gear of my friends who had to power up to go and try and get this. Doesn't drop. We have to leave, reset. That whole process of going in to farm something is definitely not the way to go. And at least that was the only, big bug that I faced to that specific effect outside of everything else I mentioned. And so when you do have to reset, or even just between games, you're going into another one, the cooldowns. Super awesome being able to exfil these things that give you the upgrades and let you go in, and it doesn't even cost anything outside of the time for these cooldowns. But the schematics just felt really weird, especially for the wonder weapons like the ray gun. I could care less about getting this thing because it feels very weak, especially compared to the crossbow, the akimbo shotgun pistols. To only be able to make one of them every 48 hours of actual in real life time, that just felt super weird. I don't know. I didn't like this. It'd be great to be able to at least decrease the cooldown of some of these. I do think the 3 hours for the perks is at least much more manageable, but similar to how you can in DMZ, being able to dead drop items, or if you exfil with something that then just disappears, that at least decreases the cooldown of your insured slot. In this case, it'd be great to decrease the cooldown of all of these as well. And now you have more of a reason. Okay, well, I'm going to bring a couple extra epic or bigger items out that maybe are in tier 3 to help decrease the cooldown of all the perks and everything that I have outside of this to have it better than next raid. But that is just my insight. Tell me what you think. And if you enjoy my insight, consider subscribing and checking out my entire playlist of commentaries, tips, and information. I can definitely say, though, playing the map has gotten me more excited for Battle Royale. And I have some early loadout theories as well as tips that I'm going to be releasing for future videos. So don't miss out on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. I got even more gameplays and strategy insight as well that I'm going to be posting on Stone Mountain Plays, my second channel. If you want all the Call of Duty content coming your way. That's for this one, though. Thanks so much for watching.